Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we've got the Cities of Sigmar Battletome update coming out in the upcoming White Dwarf, and today we're going to talk about what exactly is coming out. So, Cities of Sigmar are going to get the White Dwarf update. As we've seen, you've got a cool bunch of little extra rules for each army, you've got your own grand strategy, and a couple of battle tactics for every army that's come out so far. We've had the Sons of Behemoth, the Slaves to Darkness, and the Seraphon all receive these updates, and Cities of Sigmar are receiving theirs next. Now, the one thing I have to say about these is it's likely an army is not seeing an update for quite some time, which is a little bit odd because Cities of Sigmar have been one of those armies rumoured for the start of the new edition, so maybe that's not entirely true. Or maybe we're just getting these and we're going to get something real soon, and maybe my whole thoughts on why you would get these and put these in armies that are not going to see updates for a while is a little bit bogus. But I do think, like, obviously Seraphon have only just had a Battletome, Sons of Behemoth only just had one, Slave to Darkness are relatively new. Cities of Sigmar maybe not quite as new as the rest of them and maybe due for an update unlike some of the others, but they do sort of work. They're an army where there's not a lot of rerolls in them and they don't require an awful lot of fixes, I think, for a brand new edition. So with that said, we're going to get a grand strategy in this. We'll talk a little bit about that. There's a couple of battle tactics and a couple of mount traits as well. We're not going to go through the Path to Glory stuff here because I really don't like going through the Path to Glory stuff. I feel the best way to do that is actually just play through your games and read and learn as you go playing Path to Glory. That is definitely the best way to do that. So we're going to talk about those three particular things, the grand strategy, battle tactics, and mount traits in this video today, and talk about what we can use them for and how they're going to affect us building a Cities of Sigmar army. So let's get cracking into it. And so for starters, we've got the grand strategy, and it's called Bridgehead of Power. And so this one is a little bit, I guess, like one of the ones we currently have. You control more terrain features than your opponent at the end of the game is how you complete this. However, faction terrain placed by your opponent counts as 3 pieces rather than 1 for this one. So it's all about conquering your opponent's faction terrain more than anything. This could be a little interesting. If you're playing, I guess, in some of your campaigns and you know what you're sort of playing at home, and if you have some friends that play particular armies, this could be a useful one to have. I could imagine this playing against like either Idneth or Skaven where they have multiple faction terrain pieces on the table, or even things like Sylvaneth, etc. This could be a really, really good one for playing in if you're playing in a meta like that. However, it is, I guess, a little bit harder to do than some of your cities aren't the most aggressive army in the game. They're generally not going to get to their opponent's faction terrain pieces unless you're playing something like Living City, where you can assure to sort of get behind, or, you know, things like Misthaven and all that. Cities generally aren't going to be all the way across the table at the end of the game. They're not an army that sort of plays like that. So it's a little bit interesting. This could really be good in some situations. I mean, playing Skaven and just clawing up their gnaw holes and getting your grand strategy sort of set down for you, or even playing Sylvaneth and just taking over their own forests is pretty cool. I like the narrative aspect of it, but for me it's just one that's not going to see an awful lot of use. It really doesn't give an awful lot. And so moving on to our battle tactics. So we get 2 of these in the army. Now, we'll talk about Banners Raised High, as I think this is the one that's more likely to see use and be useful in your games. So, I guess the general summary of this is have standard bearers on objectives, but how it works is you pick 2 objectives that are not wholly within your territory, so these can be ones on the edge that are partially within your territory, and those 2 objectives must be more than 12 inches apart. You complete this battle tactic if you have a standard bearer on each one of those objectives. So, you know, pretty simple one to do. This is a solid battle tactic. It's going to give you another battle tactic point with Cities of Sigmar through the game. So definitely a really big fan of this one. I think this is great in a lot of scenarios where this could be useful. Just getting you a battle tactic when you're maybe struggling, or getting like an early one, leaving, you know, your run one for later, or something like Conquer, etc. for later. This could be a really solid one. I really like this battle tactic. The other one is Consecrate. It involves Flagellants. I know precisely one person who has run Flagellants in his army, and he probably never wants to do it again. But you target a unit of Flagellants that's not within 6 inches of any enemy units, and not within your enemy's territory within 6 inches of it. And you complete it if they are wholly or partially within your enemy's territory at the end of the turn. It's got flagellants to do with it getting into your opponent's territory. If they're not dead by the time they get there, I mean, yeah, it's not a good one. What this, though, gives me interest to is flagellants obviously going to be a massive part of going forward, and these crusades, it all sort of ties in and makes sense narratively. What are we going to get with flagellants in the future? Does this sort of lean you towards thinking maybe we're going to get flagellants? Maybe that Order of Vizier part of the army is actually coming in the next release for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, for Cities of Sigmar? So it'd be really interesting to see what this sort of leads on to, because I'm interested more so for what this is going to mean for cities in the future with flagellants, rather than actually ever using this battle tactic. I'll never take a unit of flagellants in my army at current. So I can't see myself ever using this one, but Banners Raised High is definitely a solid battle tactic. And lastly, let's talk about the mount traits. I think these are the most interesting things we got with the Battletome update. So for starters, we got Flying Guardian. This is for a Griffin only, and the first time this model dies, you roll a dice. On a 2+, you get to put it back on the battlefield 9 inches away from any enemy units with D3 wounds healed back and all excess damage that would have been applied to it negated. This is really, really solid. I really, really like this one. I mean, getting a Griffin back on an extra D3 wounds, this could be really great. You place him out of harm's way, you get to heal him back up potentially, especially if you've gone down at the end of a battle round and you're getting the turn after, or you've gone down at the end of your opponent's turn and you're going to get the turn after. Being able to get D3 wounds back means you're likely to be able to get a heroic healing, and potentially playing in something like Hallowheart, you could heal yourself up another D6, or Living City, you could heal D6, Emerald Lightsworn could go off as well. There's plenty of ways you could really make that Griffin quite survivable, and definitely get two, I guess, good uses out of your Griffin with this particular mount trait. It's really solid. The other one is Putrid Smelling Breath, which is for Black Dragons only. This makes the breath weapon work on a 5+ rather than 6. The Black Dragon's breath weapon, you roll a dice normally on a 6+ normally. Now a 5+ with this mount trait, you do a mortal wounds for every enemy model within 6 inch. So you have a 6 inch range and you roll a dice for every model in range of the ability. And then, yeah, you do some mortal wounds. 5+ changes this. This could be really good horde clearer. Black Dragon generally can do a decent amount of damage to, I guess, he's best against like high value troops, where he can really do some work, 2 wound troops and all that sort of stuff. This really helps him sort of clear out hordes that are going to potentially bog him down, or bog her down if it's a sorceress as well. Oh, I'm upset we only got 2 mount traits here, but, you know, they're both pretty good, I will say. Like, they're solid mount traits. Be interesting to see how these work with Amguard. Do you get this and do you get one of the Drakeblood Curses, or I wonder how that will work. That may need a little FAQ on it to say they're both mount traits, because the Drakeblood Curses don't apply just to mounts, they're for other monsters as well. So are they mount traits, are they monster traits? What's the thing there? I'm assuming they're mount traits, but it definitely warrants getting an FAQ for. This can combine really, really well with some other things we get. I like both of these. One for the Phoenix or the would have been really cool. Even like Steam Tank Commander ones would have been pretty sweet. I think the Phoenix is the only one missing out here. What does that mean for the Phoenix? Is the Phoenix going to continue being a part of the book, or maybe the Lumineth are finally stealing them off Cities of Sigmar? Who knows? But what did you all think of all the updates and all the new rules we got for Cities of Sigmar? I think out of all the ones, this is probably the smallest update I've seen for any army. We didn't get any battalions involved in this one, or anything like that. But then again, the cities really need them. We make really great use of the generic battalions we've already got. So I don't feel like cities really need them all that much. Well, that's the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, drop us a comment in the video and let us know what you enjoyed about it as well. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fun community here at Sinful Gaming, you can do so by following the link in the description of the video to our Discord server. You can come chat with me and other members. Lastly, if you'd like to help support the channel in another way, you can do so either by joining Patreon or YouTube members linked in the video's description, or by getting some merch from Teespring, also linked in the video's description. We'd like to give a shout out to everyone who helps support the channel on Patreon and YouTube members. So a special shout out to our Patreons: Christian Weir, James Soren, Chaos Spawn, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Alderon Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Adina226, Anton Nielsen, JJ Austrian, and Average Wargamer. And a shout out to our YouTube members as well: Greenroots Gaming, Kenton Young, Steve T, The Real Zealot, Chris Wallace, Turai12, Vinny, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, and Wolfric Nick. Lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Everything here is done by her. She does an amazing job, so thank you very much. And lastly, a special shout out to Xmorphic, who does all the background work on the Discord server, keeps it running smoothly, and makes it amazing because I am terrible with computers. So thank you, Xmorphic, as well. That's it for today, though, folks. Stay safe, everyone. Stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.